You've just stepped into the only place where Hornets sting, Panthers growl, and 49ers try not to blow a fourth quarter lead. Welcome to the Buzz and Roar Show, hosted by a guy who loves sports named Ethan. We're talking Queen City sports with just the right amount of bias and way too much caffeine. Let's get it going.
Welcome to episode 2 of the Buzz and Roar Show. So excited to get this started. Let's just go ahead and jump in. With football season fast and approaching, it's time to roll out some record predictions for the Charlotte 49ers football. I've already shared my take on the Carolina Panthers' upcoming season on my YouTube channel. So, actually, I did the entire NFL. I predicted the entire NFL in 1 hour long of a video. Spoiler alert, they just barely squeaked by with a 9-8 finish. If you haven't got that yet, go give it a watch. But the 49ers haven't had their moment in the spotlight, so let's change that now. We'll kick things off with the Charlotte 49ers football. Let's see here. I should have already had this open. Okay. So, I'm going to go ahead and get a counter up so then I can tell you how many wins I think. App State against Charlotte. That's what we're kicking it off against first. App State against Charlotte. Charlotte is at home August 29th at 7 p.m. And it is actually a rivalry game. I don't think it's a rivalry game, but they do this game. They are part of a game that is played at Bank of America Stadium. So they're actually playing at the Carolina Panthers home stadium. Bank of America Stadium. They're playing at Bank of America August 29th, 7 p.m. App State and Charlotte. I have App State getting the win, but not by much. And by the way, before I start, I talked about this last week. I have Connor Harrell getting the win. Getting the win for quarterback. Charlotte 49ers football predictions. Okay. I have App State getting the win. They're going to start off 0-1. Okay. It's an oddly tough schedule compared to what they usually play. Especially considering that the next week, guess who they play? They play the North Carolina Tar Heels. And the Tar Heels, right? They beat them 38-20 last year. Okay, it was 38-20 last year. Actually, it was one day before September 7th is when they're playing it this year. Last year they played on September 7th at 7 p.m. This year they're playing on September 6th at 7 p.m. However, UNC and Charlotte, I have Charlotte going 0-2 here. And here's why. I don't see in a respectful way. And my YouTube viewers know I'm a North Carolina Tar Heels fan, so I'm trying to, and kind of a Charlotte 49ers fan now that I'm starting this podcast. I'm trying to be a Charlotte 49ers fan. I've never really watched any of their games, however, I've been studying them a ton lately. So Charlotte 49ers, I think, is going to lose this game here. Okay? Mainly because, do you really think, in a respectful way, Bill Belichick is going to lose to that good of a school? I personally don't think so. I really don't. I personally don't think so. I think Charlotte is going to lose that game. So they start off 0-2. They started off 0-2 last year, and they went 3-9. Okay. Actually, no, they didn't. They did not go 3-9. They went 0-1, 0-2, 1-2, 1-3. Hold on. 0-1, 0-2, 1-2, 2-2, 1-3, 2-3, 4-3, 4-4, 4-5, 4-6, 4-7, 5-7, 6-7 because Charlotte barely made a bowl game, I'm pretty sure. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Yeah, I'm pretty sure they got 5-7, then barely made a bowl game and beat UAB in the bowl game. However, that was last season. They went 6-7. I have them starting off 0-2 once again, just like they did last year. They started off 0-2, lost to James Madison 30-7, and lost to UNC 38-20. UNC played Charlotte in their second game last year. Charlotte plays UNC this year in their second game. They for some reason they did it the same this year as they did last year. Not the same schedule, but the same way with UNC. And last year UNC won. This time they have a all-star NFL head coach. Do I think he's going to do the greatest for the Tar Heels? Not really in his first ever college football season, but I do think he's going to do good enough for the 49ers to lose. Okay, sadly, I do. Monmouth against Charlotte. Charlotte is at home. I just realized UNC has to play Charlotte at on the road. Charlotte will be at home for that game. That's actually kind of funny. But Charlotte against Monmouth, I think Charlotte finally gets their first win. They go 1-2. Then Rice. Rice, I think, is where they... I'm going to say I think Rice is where they go 2-2. Because I really do think Connor Harrell is going to have a decent year this year. However, South Florida is a pretty good team. They're not like the greatest team ever. South Florida record 23-24. South Florida, they went 7-6. That's not bad. Okay. You can't say that's bad because it's not bad. Okay. It's not. South Florida on October 3rd at 7. Charlotte's first road game, I think they lose. So they start the season, they start the first 5 games off 2-3. Then sadly, I think in their 6th game, they're going to go 2-4. Why? Because they play Army on the road. Army, I get it. They lost their QB. He went to the NFL, I think. That's off topic, though. But not only the fact that he went to the NFL, he was really good. And I just don't see Charlotte defending the greatness Army kind of put on last year. Army finished, I think, 24th in the country last year by the end of the season. That's not a usual Army type thing. Army and Navy were ranked at the end of the year, if I'm correct. No, I think Navy actually slowed down a little by the end of the year and just barely missed ranking. However, Army was ranked, and Army on October 11th at 12 p.m., I think, is going to beat Charlotte. Because I feel like they're not going to, even though they lost their all-star quarterback, I still don't think they're going to slow down a ton. I don't think they're going to slow down a ton, if that makes sense. Charlotte against Army, 2-4. Now we got a Temple at Charlotte. October 8th, does not have a time just yet. I think Charlotte picks up the dub. They go 3-4, 7 games into the season, at home against North Texas at 7 p.m. Either, they actually don't know the date for the next couple games. It says either October 24th or October 25th at 7 p.m. I think 3-4, going into their next game, they are going to... I'm going to say they lose. They're 3-5. Here's where I think they turn stuff around. I think at the end of the year, they're like, okay, listen, Connor Harrell, he's good. Actually, no. Hold on. Let's say they win. Let's say they win because 4-4. Then they go into ECU, East Carolina. They go into East Carolina. East Carolina is not amazing, so I think they pull off a. It's not like a big upset, but for the Charlotte 49ers, it's a decently big upset. So I think the Charlotte 49ers pull off a 49ers type upset on the road at East Carolina, and they get the dub. So it's 5-4. UTSA, I think they lose that one, so they're 5-5. They have to play Georgia on the road in the 11th game of the season. I don't even know how that's technically fair. I mean, it doesn't matter how bad Georgia is next year without Carson Beck. Georgia's winning that. I mean, I'm sorry, but Georgia's winning it. So, to become automatically bowl eligible, Charlotte on the road against the Tulane Green Wave. Does Charlotte improve by one game from last season's 5-7 year, or do they stay 5-7? Charlotte at Tulane. Charlotte gets the win. Then I think they lose in their bowl game. Final record 6-7. Once again, but this time they ended the year 6-6, not 5-7 and then 1. Once again, I just think they're not going to improve a ton until they start getting like big leaps type recruits. And this season could go totally different than I just predicted. This season could go way different than I just predicted. But that's how I think it's going to go. And that's how personally I mean that's still an improvement. I mean going 6-6 instead of 5-7 and then winning the bowl game going 6-7. And then going 6-7 but in the regular season going 5-7. And then the next season you go 6-6, but then in the end you go 6-7. That's a jump. That's still a jump. Even if you lose the bowl game, that's still a jump. So, that's my final prediction. We will actually be able to see if I'm correct about any of those. I don't know if you, any YouTube viewers out here, if you watched any of my NBA or NHL playoff predictions, I reviewed them after every game. I'll probably review the Charlotte 49ers each game on this podcast when it gets to that time. Anyways, let's go ahead and move on to the next segment.
Now that we've set the stage for the 49ers on the gridiron, let's switch gears and hit the hardwood with the Charlotte 49ers men's basketball team. What's brewing in their camp for the upcoming season?
Charlotte 49ers basketball is next. They're hardwood cousins, as my text-to-speech guy said. Charlotte 49ers basketball. I think this is going to be a little bit shorter of a segment because it's just kind of like stating what I think is going to happen. And truth be told, I think this is going to happen. I think the 49ers will surprise everybody. I think they'll surprise everybody. And I think they're going to finish in the top half of the AAC. Even with all the roster turnover, all the transfers that left the Charlotte 49ers last year, I don't think we should count them out. Okay? This could be a nobody believed in us team that, I mean, truth be told, makes it to 18 plus wins. You never know. And truth be told, I think Caleb Blackwell, their new guard, could be a big reason for it. I think he could. I think Caleb Blackwell could be a big reason for it. He used to be at, let's see, is... trying to see here. Okay, it won't load for some reason. However, Caleb Blackwell was one of the nation's top JUCO point guards, and he committed to Charlotte. And truth be told, I think that is big for Charlotte, and I think that could define Charlotte's season. I think Charlotte could just be good because Caleb Blackwell. Like, also other players, of course, because basketball isn't just a one-man sport. Basketball is a 13-man sport, for goodness sakes. You need the bench players, you need the starters, you need all of them on the same page. But I think Caleb Blackwell, that JUCO guard, is going to be just wonderful for Charlotte's team this upcoming season. Anyways, I said it wouldn't be that long of a segment. However, let's go ahead and move on to the next segment. I didn't mean to click that. However, here's the song. Didn't mean to click that early. Here we go.
Speaking of Charlotte basketball, it's time to step outside the gym and onto the diamond with the Charlotte Knights. These AAA baseball guys are bringing some fresh energy to town. Let's break down what's going on with our hometown team.
The Charlotte Knights. I don't know if anyone saw my YouTube video, but the Charlotte Knights are a different team. I have not done the Charlotte Knights. I didn't do them last video, but I have just now added them. Early on in the series, in the podcast, I have just now added the Charlotte Knights. They are a AAA baseball team in Charlotte, North Carolina. They are in the same division as the Durham Bulls, actually, and I just wanted to talk about these upcoming games real quick. So, let's go and do a post-game overview real quick for the Charlotte Knights. What happened yesterday against Nashville? What really happened yesterday against Nashville? Because Charlotte was leading 7-4 going into the 8th inning. They were leading 7-4 going into the 8th inning. Then gave up 6 runs and lost. Actually, they gave up 5 runs. They were 2, 4, 5. They were up 7-5 going into the 8th inning. They gave up 5 runs, even technically better, but not really, still bad. 7-5. They were up 7-5 and gave up 5 runs in just the 8th inning. Couldn't get enough done. Could not tie it up with 3 runs in the top of the 9th. So they lose 10-7 in the end. 7-5 lead going into the 8th and giving up 5 runs? That's not something you want to see. Okay? That's not something you want to see. And truth be told, I really think it was a Charlotte 49ers pitching problem. I think it was a 49ers pitching problem because I don't exactly know why it happened, but let me read you the box score. What happened was at the bottom of the 8th, Daz Cameron for Nashville homers on a fly ball to center field. It's 7-6 now. Then an 0-1 count with still no outs. Another home run, one batter after, this time 406 feet. First one is 431 feet. A bomb. This one's 406 feet. Exit velocity of 109.9 for both baseballs hit on a fly ball to left center field. So not center field, but left center field. Then, on a 2-0 count with 1 out, Jorge Alfaro singles on a ground ball to left fielder Corey Julks. Jared Olivia to third. Then 2-1 count, 1 out One man on third, one man on first. Ernesto Martinez doubles on a sharp line drive to center fielder Drew Baker. Jared Oliva scores. It's hard to say because you want to say Olivia or something like that, or Oliveira, but it's not. It's Oliva. Scores. And it also keeps refreshing. Jorge Alfaro scores. So 2 scores off that one double. So the first baseman, it was a double, but the first baseman got all the way to home off of a double. That's not good. Nashville's win probability right now, because it's 9-7. I mean, that's already 4 runs. And then after that, with one man on second, 2 outs gone, 0-1 count, Drew Evans singles on a line drive to left fielder Corey Yolks. Ernesto Martinez Jr. scores. Can I point something out? Corey Yolks, the left fielder, got almost all of these balls. Like, all of them. Because if you read it again, Bobby Dalbec homers on a fly ball to left center field. Jorge Alfaro singles on a ground ball to left fielder Corey Jolks. It's Julks. I think it's Jolks. Ernesto Martinez Jr. doubles on a sharp line drive to center fielder this time, but then Drew Evans singles on a line drive to left fielder Corey Jolks. Okay, what I'm getting at here is that Corey Jolks either couldn't get the ball back home, either there was some sort of error that happened, which it doesn't say there was an error, which I think what happened was it was a pitching problem. I think it was a pitching problem because the Corey Yolks got most of those balls, and on every single one of them, they scored. So it's either Corey Jolks' fault or a pitching problem, but the reason why I think it's a pitching problem is because Corey Jolks is a left fielder, and considering the ball goes way deep back to left field, it's hard to get it back that far. Yeah, you're playing baseball, you got to, but sometimes it's hard to. And yeah, that sounds like it's a Corey Yolks problem, but what I'm getting at is that let's put it this way, sometimes it's physically impossible to get it there in time because there's one man on third, and you can't get it back home that quick because you're all the way 300 feet down the left center line. And so I feel like it was a pitching problem because if the pitching was good, it would have never went to Corey Yolks. It would have been either a strike or a fly out, caught, bang. Okay? Or even a strike or fly up or ground ball or like. And if you really pay attention to it a little more, what usually happens if it's a ground ball to left fielder Corey Yolks? Corey Yolks, ground ball? How is it a ground ball all the way down the left field line? That would mean it's the third baseman's fault. Okay? And it's a little bit harder to tell whose fault it was because of the fact that I wasn't watching it. Actually, I did watch a little bit of it, but I didn't watch the ending of it because I had to go somewhere. But it's either a pitching problem or a third baseman problem or both. I think it's both because Corey Yolks should, number one, not have even gotten those ground balls all the way to where he was. His position, he shouldn't have been getting ground balls. Number two, the pitcher should not have even let 5 runs in 1 inning happen, truth be told. Just being honest, it really shouldn't. It shouldn't happen, and I feel like it's a third baseman and a pitcher problem. Then the second thing is this. I think if the Charlotte Knights want to win tonight, they play at 7:35 p.m. if I'm correct. Yeah, 7:35 p.m. Wednesday the 23rd, the Thursday the 24th, and Friday the 25th. If you're not familiar on how to watch it, there's an app on your phone or laptop or really whatever called Bally Sports Live. Not sponsored, but it is called Bally Sports Live. Once again, not sponsored at all, but it gives you the all MILB games for free. It's amazing. I love it. That's how I watch all the... I live in North Carolina, so that's how I watch all the Mudcats games, the Bulls games, everything. Once again, not sponsored at all. That'd be crazy if I got a sponsor from Bally Sports Live. That'd be crazy cool. Here you go, Bally Sports Live. I guess it's a free sponsor. That's how you do it. That's how you watch it. 7:35 tonight, tomorrow night, and the next night. They all the games are Nashville. But my second point was this. I think Corey Lee... if they want to win this game, third baseman's got to do better, and the pitcher's got to do better. And not only that, but Corey Lee is going to lead. I have a prediction. I think Corey Lee is going to hit another homer. Okay, let me see when it was exactly. But Corey Lee, as I'm talking, I'll search it up. Corey Lee hit a 2-run homer last night. And in my opinion, I think he's going to do something again. Something similar is going to happen. I don't exactly know when, but I think Corey Lee is going to do something similar this game. Yeah, Corey Lee hit a 2-run home run in the top of the 7th inning. In the top of the 7th inning, Corey Lee hits a 2-run home run, 1 out, gone, 3-1 pitch. It was a 408-foot homer. I think, not even just Corey Lee. I think someone is going to hit a homer. But I think it's going to be Corey Lee. I think Corey Lee is going to hit a homer for Charlotte tonight. And that's kind of my take on the Charlotte Knights. We will catch up with the rest of this series, this Charlotte Knights Nashville series, and the next series next week on the next Buzz and Roar show. We will catch up on the next couple games. The schedule looks like it's Nashville, and then it's Rockford all the way through the 31st. Yeah, so I'll catch up on the next 2 series is the end of this one. And actually, no, Nashville plays them at 7:35 every night until this upcoming Sunday, July 27th, 7:05 p.m. Eastern is when they play on Sunday. But the rest is 7:35 p.m. It's all Eastern, by the way, Eastern time. Anyways, I will catch up with all the rest of the Charlotte Knights series as they continue on to go. So, I will do an overview of all the games next week. But anyways, let's go ahead and go to our next subject, I guess. I'm going to continue to do the Charlotte Knights because that was fun and I like watching them. So, yeah, let's go.
Sticking with Charlotte sports, let's jump over to the Hornets and see what's going on with them in the NBA world.
Charlotte Hornets. Okay. They just won the Summer League. You do know that, right? So, Summer League title going to the Charlotte Hornets. If you don't know what the Summer League is, it's basically where all the rookies gather up. It's not the actual NBA. It is the NBA. It's like I think it goes all the way to third-year players. I think if you're a third-year player, you can do it, but then a fourth-year player is when you can't. I might be wrong. It might be second-year players. Well, it's only rookies, second-year players, and third-year players possibly. But they basically won the rookie league, I guess you could say. They won the development league. The Charlotte Hornets won the Summer League. And I think, truth be told, we played so well, I don't think this Summer League title, even though it doesn't mean too terribly much, it's our first ever career Summer League title. I don't think it means too terribly much, though. People usually say that is what I meant to say. People usually say it doesn't mean that much. I think it does, actually. I think for the Hornets' case, it does mean a decent amount. I think it does. I think the Charlotte Hornets winning this gives all the rookies confidence. Okay? It gives all the rookies confidence, and it gives all... Sorry, I'm trying to search up all the stat lines. Okay. No, not him. Oh, is it? I thought it was Luke. Really? Huh. But basically, I think the Hornets just, of course, not only did good because they won the entire Summer League title, but I think they are going to have to take this, if they want this to mean something, they probably want to take this and make it a culture shift. What I mean by that is they need to take this and use it. Okay, their rookies are going to probably play for them next year. We all know the Hornets are not the greatest team in the books. LaMelo Ball usually gets injured every year, so does Brandon Miller. However, people have said, this isn't just me, this isn't just my bias for the Hornets, so take this in a legitimate way. The Hornets are a actual good caliber team that could actually win next year some games. They acquired Colin Sexton from the Jazz, or either the Jazz or the Spurs, I can't exactly remember. They acquired all these rookies who played crazy in the Summer League. Okay, and this is what I was about to say before I went on a different rant. The Hornets played so well that people are already saying, and they said this before the Summer League too, so once again, don't take this as just my bias, this is like legitimate. All analysts, you can basically ask an analyst, a couple different ESPN top analysts, I could tell you who it was if I searched the same article up, but a couple ESPN analysts got asked, who did the best draft? Like, after the Summer League, they asked this. Before the Summer League, they asked this too. Before the Summer League, they said, who did the best NBA draft? And they said the Charlotte Hornets. They got so many young studs, they're going to do great in the Summer League. Guess who did great in the Summer League? The Charlotte Hornets. And then they also asked, after the Summer League, who did the best? They said the Charlotte Hornets by far. The Charlotte Hornets have gotten so talented young-wise, to the point where I genuinely can't see us going 19-60 again, or whatever we usually do in the NBA. Okay, because we have just done so good with our draft, so good with just everything. Okay, so good with just about every single kind of thing that that kind of like, I lost my thought. I don't know how that happened. But they need to use this as let's say a springboard. Like a springboard. Super glue some springs to a piece of plywood and then jump on it. And that's the Hornets right now. They're trying to reach that ledge at the top of the cliff. Let's put it that way, a little analogy for you. Oh, you have glue, you have 4 springs that are like giant springs, like jump on it type springs, and you have a massive piece of plywood. And you need to reach the top ledge. Well, let's put this into the NBA point of view. The top ledge is the NBA Finals. There is a ledge in between the NBA Finals and the super glue with springs and stuff that has the Summer League title and development and all this good stuff that leads to the NBA Finals. The Hornets have already put the glue on those springs and attached it to the plywood. They have already jumped on that springboard and used it as a trampoline. All 13 of them, plus the assistant coaches and coaches, they've already made it to the first ledge. How do they get to the second ledge where the NBA championship is there? Well, you gotta go through that staircase. But in that staircase, there's a bunch of struggles and challenges throughout the year. What I'm getting at here is that they are so close to developing to the point where, like, they are probably, I will give it 5 years before they are, I will give it this year before they are at least better. Next year, I will say we might even be in contention, possibly in the playoffs. If everything goes well, I would say not next year, but the year after. So this year's 25 to 26, 26 to 27, 27 to 28. The 2027 to 2028 season, I think, is when the Charlotte Hornets finally get past that staircase. They finally kill that spider on the corner. They finally get through the door that had to have a key. And they finally reach where they wanted to be the most, which is the playoffs. Then there's another staircase that leads to the NBA Finals. But right now, they're trying to take this one step at a time, and their next step is playoffs. Okay? Their next step is playoffs. And all those young guys are in a win mentality after that Summer League title. They're in a win mentality. And that's kind of what brings me hope for this upcoming year, because those young guys who are in a win mentality want to win even more. They want to win. It's not just the fact that they don't want to win. They want to win. They want to win. They want to win just like they did in the Summer League. In the Summer League, they didn't lose. They went 6-0, won the title. And they don't want to lose at Charlotte. They want to be the people who will go all the way, okay? Now let's talk about individual players. Real quick. This is hilarious to me. Con Knipple and KJ Simpson. KJ Simpson was not a rookie. He has been on the team for I think this is his second year being on the team. Con Knipple won the Summer League MVP. Con Knipple was our 4th overall draft pick. So Con Knipple in the NBA draft this year was considered the best stud of the draft, actually. Con Knipple has been talked about just as much, possibly even more, than Cooper Flagg in the NBA Summer League. And Cooper Flagg is considered to be, like, at this point, he's getting hyped like LeBron James out here. He's getting hyped like Michael Jordan just came out of retirement. I mean, he is getting hyped. And Con Knipple in the Summer League is getting hyped kind of just as much. Like, Con Knipple and Cooper Flagg are both getting hyped a ton right now. But we're talking about Con Knipple right now. Con Knipple had 15.6 points on 41% shooting percentage, 2.4 three-pointers on 34% shooting, 34% three-point shooting, 4.8 rebounds, 3.8 assists, and 1.2 steals in 27.8 minutes. That is great for the Summer League, just so you know. That is great. Considering how many players play in the Summer League, because they usually like to play every single player that they have on their roster in the Summer League, that's great. That's wonderful for the Summer League. However, this is kind of the funny part that I thought about it. KJ Simpson, the guy who was talking about earlier, averaged 16 points, 5.5 rebounds, and a team high 5.7 assists in 28 minutes a game. So comparing that, 15.6 points for Con Knipple, 16 points for KJ Simpson, 41% shooting for Con Knipple, at actually 41% shooting for KJ Simpson, 5.5 rebounds for KJ Simpson, 4.8 rebounds for Con Knipple, 5.7 assists for KJ Simpson, 3.8 assists for Con Knipple, and 28.6 minutes per game versus 27.8 minutes per game. Knipple, actually, funny enough, said, this is the funny part that I was going to talk about. KJ Simpson, if you listen to that at all, he did better. Okay, he obviously did better. But I feel like, I don't know what it is about sports these days, but I feel like they just want the brand. They just want the money. And so Con Knipple won won MVP. Won the Summer League MVP. Now, what was funny about this is that Con Knipple actually got asked, how do you feel about winning it? And he goes, KJ Simpson deserves it. Looking at his stats, it actually does seem like he deserves it. Then KJ Simpson got asked. And funny enough, KJ Simpson said, Con Knipple deserves it. So that's the funny part. They both think the other deserves it. However, I feel like KJ Simpson not getting it is kind of just, this is a little bit off topic, but I'm going to say it. It's kind of just a fact of the matter where you see the NBA and all these other sports wanting the money over kind of happiness in a way. Because I feel like they knew KJ Simpson deserved it. Okay, they knew KJ Simpson deserved it. They just didn't want to admit it, because if they give Con Knipple the Summer League MVP, then everyone's going to go online and tweet about it. If they give KJ Simpson the MVP, everyone's going to be like, who cares? It's KJ Simpson. Who even is that? It's the Hornets guard who didn't even play last year. And it's hilarious to me because, that's just kind of, it's like proof money is over everything these days. Anyways, that was like a rant way off topic from sports. That was like a rant about my feelings on life or something. Anyways, let's go ahead and move on to the last segment, wrap it all up.
And to wrap it all up, we'll trade the hardwood for the turf and check in on the Carolina Panthers, because there's always something to talk about in the NFL.
The Carolina Panthers. Okay. The question is Bryce Young finally set up to succeed? Is he finally set up to succeed? Okay, so let's go back. I'm going to kind of say the stuff that you've heard everyone say by now. Okay. The question is Bryce Young finally set up to succeed? I think, personally, yes, here's why. I think, let's go back to, when was it? I'm searching it up right now. Week 8. I thought so, but I just had to fact check it before I got something wrong, because this is a podcast and I'm trying to grow it and I don't want it to be wrong. Anyways, week 8. Okay. Let's go back to week 8. Week 8 last year to week 17. Actually, week 18. We'll just say 18. Technically, there's 18 weeks. There's a bye week, though, too. But let's say week 18. So, week 17 to week 8. Week 8 to week 18. Bryce Young did crazy. Okay. He did crazy. Like, crazy. And it's quote unquote crazy because how crazy he did. And what I am trying to put at here, as I'm trying to find, I sent something to my dad and brother the other week. Here we go. So, I'll say this in a second. Last year at week 8, we all know, if you're a Panthers fan, if you watched the games, he balled out. Almost beat Patrick Mahomes. He almost beat Patrick Mahomes. That's crazy. I mean, he almost beat the possible considered GOAT of football. There's a possibility he might be considered the GOAT of football soon. And I think Bryce Young is finally set up to succeed because we just got Tetairoa McMillan, wide receiver, who is going to be wonderful. If you haven't seen his stats, his highlights, search up his highlights on YouTube. He's like tall, a giant guy. He could play tight end, but I think the reason why he doesn't play tight end is because of how fast he is with his size. Like, it's unbelievable, the guy who we just got. Probably one of the biggest steals of the draft. Possibly the biggest steal of the draft. But question is this the season Bryce proves his confidence is key and that he's more than just a game manager? He's like a leader. Okay, he's got the C on his shirt, but is this the season where he actually leads? He's got the C for captain. He is the leader, quote unquote. But is that C going to come true? Is it? Is that C going to come true? And I think yes, because of what we saw at the end of last year. Truthfully, all of last year wasn't bad besides week 1 and week 2. It was actually pretty easy to watch for the first time in so long. It was easy to watch Panthers football. Now, before I move on to my second question, and then my third question, this is what I was going to tell you guys a second ago. Real quick, let me... Taking a sip of drink. If his receivers... And this is pretty unrealistic. Receivers drop the ball, okay? But they are not supposed to drop the ball much, and they don't drop the ball much. Okay, they drop the ball out of every receiver on the Chiefs. In fact, I'll even search this up, too, because we're going to do some research here. How many times we'll do the Eagles. They won the Super Bowl. Did the Eagles receivers drop the ball last season? 23 out of every single game. Then how many times did the Panthers receivers drop the ball? Last year. $24 times, which is funny because because that's only one more. There it is. The Chiefs were in the Super Bowl. Kansas City Chiefs wide receivers dropped the ball 44 times. Then the Panthers dropped it 24 times. Okay, listen, what I'm trying to get at here is that the receivers dropped the ball. So this is a little bit of an unrealistic scenario, but it's also kind of a realistic scenario. Because the Panthers receivers still could have dropped it less than they did. If the receivers did not drop the ball but twice the whole year, I don't really know why he chose 2. That's the only thing that's pretty unrealistic about this. Twice. Bryce Young, out of every quarterback in the league, would have finished with 4,927 yards, 32 touchdowns, and only 3 interceptions. On top of that, based off those stats, he would have finished MVP by a mile. Like, by a mile. Okay. He would have... Bryce Young. Let me emphasize that. The people who keep saying that he is a bust. Listen to me clearly. Bryce Young. Bryce Young would have been MVP last season. Okay? And it's crazy because that leads into my next question. Will the Carolina Panthers what? Hold on. Sorry. Want to keep reading? I gotta have a subscription for that. That's horrible. I was looking at the PFF rankings for offensive line. My other question was, who will the Panthers offensive line hold up just as good as they did last year? Last year, the Carolina Panthers, once again, we're talking about Bryce Young and the offensive line. His rookie season, people would have been like, Bryce Young, his offensive line, they're good? What? They're good in a year? No way, right? Yeah, they are. Okay, the offensive line and Bryce Young is actually proving to get better because the offensive line finished 10th in the league. According to PFF rankings, which is the most trusted stat for offensive linemen, the PFF rankings for the 2024 to 2025 season, they finished 10th in the league in offensive line. The year before that, guess what they finished? 31st. The Commanders were the spot behind them at 32. Okay. Asking me, I think, yeah, the offensive line is going to be able to protect him long enough, similar to last season. I think they are. Easily. I think it's going to be pretty easy to protect. And I'm not saying easy, but I think it's going to be a situation where they will. I think they definitely will protect him. Because, once again, talking about Bryce Young in the offensive line being good is not something that we heard in his rookie year, but we heard it last year, and we're hearing it this year, and I think the question is it going to happen this year? I think it is. And that is where I am going to end today's episode, a 53-minute episode, a thriller, a great episode. Share with friends. Thanks for hanging out on the Buzz and Roar show. If you want more sports stuff from Charlotte to anywhere else that throws a ball or kicks a ball or bounces a ball or whatever, check out my YouTube channel. Capital E, Ethan. Capital T, the. Capital B, Broadcaster. So Ethan the Broadcaster. No spaces, capital E, T, and B. And hey, if you're already watching this on YouTube, welcome. You're in the right place. If you're listening somewhere else like Spotify, go ahead and hit subscribe on YouTube too. It's not that hard, okay? It's not that hard. It's not that hard. It's like the same thing, but with more visuals. You get to see my face and less background noise. Like less ads. Less ads. Hit subscribe so you don't miss out. Or don't. I could care less. I'm not your boss. Yeah, I'm not. I'm not your boss. Like, it doesn't matter. But I would love it. It would be greatly appreciated. Share this with friends, please. I want to get this. I want to get my name out there. Ethan the Broadcaster. Share this Buzz and Roar show with friends. Episode 3 will come out at some point next week. I will tell everyone when that happens. See you next time on the Buzz and Roar show. Goodbye. See you next week.
Thanks for listening to Buzz and Roar. We talk about sports, all kinds of sports. If you like the show, hit subscribe or follow. We'll be back soon with more stuff to share. Thanks again, and see you next time.